The invitation lay on my desk, its embossed gold script glinting under the soft halo of my lamp, whispering promises of a night I couldn't escape. Evelyn and Marcus cordially invite you. My sister's wedding, a spectacle, a coronation, a stage where I'd always been relegated to the wings. I traced the edges of the card, feeling the weight of 11 years spent building something no one in my family believed in. They saw me as Morgan Mitchell, the dreamer who traded a law degree for a startup's gamble, destined to crawl back defeated. But here I was, in a sleek Boston office, atop an empire they didn't even know I'd forged, Everlink Dynamics. My creation was worth $3 billion, and I was its invisible architect. As I sat there, the city's skyline shimmering beyond my window, I wondered, would this wedding finally force them to see me? Or would it be another scene in their play of dismissal 11 years ago? I was 24, a law school dropout with a wild idea and a laptop that overheated every hour. Over brunch at a sunlit cafe in Cambridge, Evelyn, my younger sister by 2 years, had laughed, her fork poised over avocado toast. Morgan's lost her mind. She'd told our parents, her voice dripping with pity, she'll be broke by Christmas. Begging for a cubicle, my mother nodded, sipping her mimosa, while my father muttered about wasted potential. I'd left that table, their words burning in my chest, and rented a desk in a co-working space that smelled of burnt coffee, while Evelyn climbed the PR ranks at Lang Tech, dazzling everyone with her corporate headshots and Prada bags. I was coding in a hoodie, pitching to investors who smirked at my youth, and praying my servers wouldn't crash during demos. Everlink Dynamics grew from those sleepless nights, neural interface chips that revolutionized robotics, prototypes that won contracts, beta testers who became evangelists. My family never noticed. They were too busy framing Evelyn's Employee of the Month plaques. I kept my success veiled, operating through shell firms and blind trusts. To the world, I was a mid-level operations manager at a vague tech consultancy, a role I played to avoid their scrutiny. Only my inner circle, my godfather Jackson Rowe, who lent his name as Everlink's figurehead, and a handful of trusted lieutenants knew the truth. I preferred it that way. Anonymity let me build without their judgment, their expectations, their inevitable demands. But the wedding loomed, a collision of my worlds. My mother's voicemails piled up, each one gushing about Evelyn's engagement to Marcus Lang, heir to Lang Group, Boston's fading robotics giant. It's the social event of the year. Morgan, she'd said, her tone implying I'd better not ruin it. I considered declining, but her calls grew insistent, each one a reminder of the family I couldn't quite escape. Miss Mitchell Clara, my assistant, leaned into my office, her voice snapping me back to the present. The quarterly strategy reviews in 10. I nodded, sliding the invitation into a drawer. Clara hesitated, then added, also, Lang Tech sent the final purchase order for the neural interface chips. They need them by mid-next quarter. It's a $65 million deal. I smiled faintly, the irony sharp enough to cut. Lang Tech, Marcus's family empire, was banking on those chips to save their sinking ship. What they didn't know, the chips were mine, Everlink's proprietary tech, and I held the pen that could sign or shred their future. Thank you, Clara, I said, my voice steady. I'll handle it. As she left, I leaned back, the Boston skyline a glittering reminder of what I'd built. The wedding was this Saturday, a stage set for their arrogance and my reckoning. I'd go, not to play their game, but to rewrite the rules. The morning of Evelyn's wedding dawned crisp, the Boston sky a flawless blue that promised perfection. I stepped out of my Tesla, the Lang estate sprawling before me in Beacon Hill's historic heart, its manicured lawns and marble columns screaming old money meets new tech. My midnight blue gown hugged my frame, custom made, its label discreet but its craftsmanship unmistakable. I'd chosen it deliberately, understated elegance, a quiet rebellion against the flash I knew awaited inside. The air buzzed with anticipation, guests in tailored suits and sequined dresses streaming toward the venue. I smoothed my dress, steeling myself for the role I'd been assigned, the overlooked sister, the family's cautionary tale. The ceremony was a spectacle of excess, as if Evelyn and Marcus had raided a vault of legacy wealth and tech millions. Over 500 guests filled the estate's glass terrace, their chatter mingling with a string quartet flown in from Italy. Gold-plated cutlery gleamed on tables draped in silk, and floral arrangements towered like sculptures, requiring scaffolding to stay upright. I stood at the edge, watching my mother air-kiss her way through the crowd, her curls immaculate. "Morgan," she called, spotting me. Her smile tight as she leaned in for a perfunctory cheek graze. "You came, and you look decent." Her eyes flicked over my gown, searching for a flaw. Behind her, my father was deep in conversation with a Lang Tech board member, no doubt angling for a favor. I forced a smile, the weight of their indifference settling like frost. "Where should I sit?" I asked, glancing at the ornate seating chart, its calligraphy a map of status. My mother waved a hand. Vague. "Oh, we had to rearrange things last minute. Evelyn's guests came in droves. You understand?" Her tone was light, but the message cut deep. I understood perfectly. To them, I was still the sister who'd thrown away a legal career to tinker with gadgets, the one who didn't belong at the main table. They didn't know Everlink Dynamics had quietly acquired 3 of Lang Tech's key suppliers, or that the $65 million chip contract they were chasing was mine to give or take. I nodded, letting her words slide off me, and made my way to the ceremony's last row, a ghost among the glittering crowd. Evelyn was radiant, I'll admit, her gown a cascade of ivory lace, and Marcus glowed with the smug assurance of a man born to inherit. The vows were poetic, the applause thunderous, but I watched it all with detachment, my mind on the reception to come. When it began, I scanned the ballroom for my name card, weaving through tables laden with crystal and orchids. Nothing, looking for something. Evelyn's voice cut through the hum, syrupy and sharp. She'd changed into a sleeker dress, her perfection curated for the spotlight. "My seat," I said, keeping my tone even. Her smile tightened. A predator's gleam. "Oh, didn't they tell you? We had to reserve the main tables for more prominent guests, but the kitchen set something up near the staff lounge. Very cozy." Laughter rippled from nearby tables. A cruel chorus. Marcus sauntered over, his tuxedo pristine, his grin insufferable. "Come on, Morgan, don't cause a scene. You've always been good at staying in your lane." His words landed like a slap, echoing the years of their dismissal every holiday where I was cropped from photos, every brunch where my dreams were mocked. I met his gaze, my composure a shield forged in a decade of their underestimation. "Noted," I said, my voice cool, but inside, a fire roared. 11 years of being their afterthought burned behind my calm. I slipped my hand into my clutch, fingers brushing my phone. The stage was set, their arrogance the perfect prelude to my move. I turned toward the kitchen, not because I accepted their place for me, but because I knew the real power wasn't at their gilded tables, it was in the empire I'd built, waiting for the moment to strike. The kitchen door loomed ahead, its utilitarian steel a stark contrast to the ballroom's gilded opulence. But I paused, my heels clicking softly against the marble floor. The laughter from Evelyn and Marcus's taunt still echoed, a cruel melody that stirred a decade of buried slights. My fingers closed around my phone, its cool glass grounding me. This wasn't just about a seat. It was about every moment they'd written me off, every sneer that dismissed my ambition. I'd built Everlink Dynamics from a folding table in a Cambridge garage, and now, with one call, I could unravel their world. My pulse steadied, a predator's calm. It was time to stop playing their invisible guest. I dialed, my voice low but firm. "Jack, it's me. Terminate the Lang contract. All of it. Effective immediately." On the other end, my godfather's voice crackled with surprise, but didn't question he knew better. As I hung up, a shatter pierced the ballroom's hum. Marcus's champagne flute lay in fragments at his feet, his face a mask of disbelief. Evelyn's smile froze, her eyes darting to me, then to the guests who'd fallen silent. The air thickened, chandeliers casting long shadows that seemed to lean toward me. I held up my phone, the Everlink Dynamics logo glowing on the screen like a verdict. "The $65 million neural chip deal," I said, my voice cutting through the hush. The one Lang Tech's been banking on to save this quarter? It's mine, Everlink's. And I just canceled it. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Forks clattering against plates. Marcus took a step forward, his jaw tight. "What are you doing?" he hissed, his bravado fraying. I didn't flinch. My gaze locked on his. What I should have done years ago reminding you who holds the cards. Evelyn's laugh was brittle. A desperate attempt to reclaim control. "You're bluffing. Everlink's a billion-dollar firm. You're just... You..." Her words hung, fragile, and I let them linger, savoring the moment. "Am I?" I said, tilting my head. "Everlink Dynamics is my company. I'm its CEO, not some operations drone. Those chips. My design. That contract? My decision." The ballroom seemed to contract. Guests leaning forward, phones discreetly recording, Marcus's face drained of color, his hands twitching as if searching for something to grip. "That's impossible," he stammered. "Jackson Rowe owns Everlink. Everyone knows that." I smiled, sharp and cold. "Jackson's my godfather. He fronted the company while I built it from the shadows. Call him if you'd like. He'll confirm it." Evelyn's hand flew to her mouth, her curated perfection cracking. The weight of my truth settled over the room, heavy as the floral arrangements wilting under the chandeliers. I wasn't just the sister they'd banished to the kitchen, I was the architect of their downfall. And they'd invited me to their stage. I turned, my gown whispering against the floor, ready to leave them to their unraveling. But Marcus's voice, raw with panic, stopped me. "You can't do this. My father's entire launch depends on those chips." I glanced back, my expression serene. "I know. And I also know about Lang Tech's leveraged loans, the investor pullback, and the AR rollout that bled millions. Your empire's crumbling? Marcus. And you thought you could mock me while begging for my tech." The silence was deafening, the crowd's eyes darting between us like spectators at a duel. I'd drawn first blood, but the real fight was just beginning, and I was ready to finish it. The ballroom's hush shattered as Mr. Lang strode forward, his polished shoes clicking like a metronome on the marble. His face, usually a mask of corporate composure, was flushed, his bow tie askew. "What's this about our contract?" he demanded, his voice booming. "Marcus, why is your sister-in-law discussing our business?" I turned to him, extending my hand with a smile that felt like a blade. "Mr. Lang, I'm Morgan Mitchell, CEO of Everlink Dynamics. You might know me better as LM Strategic Holdings, the firm that's been quietly buying up your suppliers." His eyes widened, a man struck by a truth he hadn't seen coming. "Your LM Holdings," he sputtered, "the one controlling our vendors." "Guilty," I replied, my tone light but lethal. "Your due diligence team missed a few details. No hard feelings." Evelyn's voice cut in, venomous. "You're lying. This is some pathetic stunt to ruin my day." Her mascara smudged, a stark contrast to her earlier polish. I met her gaze, unflinching. "Ruin your day? I'm just correcting the seating chart. You placed me in the kitchen, Evelyn, but I've been running the table all along." I gestured to the crowd, their phones now openly recording. "Everlink doesn't just supply your chips. We own your debt, your supply chain, and soon, your company." Marcus lunged forward, grabbing my arm, his grip bruising. "Fix this," he growled. "Whatever game you're playing, undo it." I looked down at his hand, then back at him, my voice ice. "Like when I asked you for a loan to start Everlink. When you laughed and told me to get a real job, that's Marcus." He recoiled, his hand dropping. I pressed on, my words deliberate. "Lang Tech's 3 months from insolvency without my chips. And you, Marcus, have been embezzling from your division to cover gambling losses. I know because Everlink audits your books." Evelyn spun toward him, her dress swishing like a storm. "You stole from my father," she shrieked, her voice echoing off the crystal chandeliers. Mr. Lang's face darkened to crimson, sweat beading at his brow. "Security," he barked, panic rising. "Remove her." I raised a hand, my calm unshaken. "I wouldn't. Everlink holds a significant portion of your debt. Call it in. And Lang Tech collapses by Monday. Your choice. The security team froze, their eyes flicking between us. The room's power had shifted. No longer at the head table, but in my steady hands. My mother pushed through the crowd, her face flushed with indignation. "Morgan, stop this. You're humiliating your sister." I turned to her, my phone still in hand. "Humiliating? Like when you cropped me from every holiday photo because I didn't wear Burberry. Or when you said I was throwing my life away, I held up the screen. Want the Q2 earnings report or the acquisition contracts? I have both." Her lips parted, but no words came. The crowd murmured, guests typing Everlink dynamics into their phones. Piecing together the truth, Marcus's bravado crumbled. His voice a whisper. "Morgan, please, not here. We can work something out, a board seat." "A partnership?" I laughed. The sound sharp enough to cut glass. "By next week. I'll own a controlling interest in Langtech. Your negligence, your father's mismanagement, it handed me your company. The chip deal was just the handshake." Evelyn sank into a chair, her gown pooling like defeated silk. "This can't be real," she whispered. "Not today." I echoed her earlier cruelty, my voice soft but piercing. "The kitchen staff has a lovely table. Evelyn, perfect for your new place in the hierarchy?" Mr. Lang fumbled with his tie, his empire unraveling before the guests he'd meant to impress. The wedding, once a display of status, was now a spectacle of collapse, and I stood at its center, the architect of their reckoning, ready to walk away with everything they'd undervalued. The ballroom's chaos faded behind me as I stepped into the cool Boston night, my Tesla waiting like a silent ally at the curb. Mike, my driver and head of security, opened the door, his eyes catching the uproar spilling through the estate's windows. "Everything okay, Miss Mitchell?" he asked, his voice steady. I glanced back at the silhouettes of Evelyn sobbing, Mr. Lang roaring, and my mother clutching her pearls, all framed by the glow of chandeliers. "Everything's perfect." "Mike," I said, sliding into the seat. "Let's go. We've got a company to finalize." As we pulled away, the Lang estate shrank in the rear view, a monument to hubris crumbling under the weight of truth. I'd dismantled their facade, but the real work building, always building, lay ahead. By morning, the fallout was viral. Langtech's stock nosedived. Headlines screaming of debt crises and Marcus's embezzlement. Social media buzzed with clips of the wedding's collapse. My words replayed in grainy videos. "I'll own controlling interest in Langtech." Evelyn, unwilling to tether herself to a sinking legacy, filed for annulment within days. Her dream wedding reduced to a footnote in Boston's gossip mills. My parents' voicemails flooded my inbox, a crescendo of rage morphing into pleas for forgiveness. I let them pile up, unanswered. My focus on Everlink dynamics. We absorbed Langtech's key assets, stripping the excess and cutting the rot. Most employees stayed, grateful for stability. Marcus's department was the first to go. His office cleared out before the week's end. 3 months later, I sat in my corner office, Boston Harbor's waves glinting beyond the glass. Everlink's quarterly reports showed a 24% surge. Our neural chips now powering industries that Langtech could only dream of. A buzz from my intercom broke my focus. "Ms. Mitchell, there's a visitor," Clara said. "No appointment." I sighed, expecting another reporter chasing the Lang story. "Send them in." The door opened, and a wave of Chanel perfume drifted through. Familiar yet out of place. My mother stood there, her designer handbag clutched like a shield, her face etched with lines I hadn't noticed before. The receptionist didn't recognize me. She said, her voice small. I had to show ID. I leaned back, meeting her gaze. "Security's tight since the acquisition. We've had unexpected guests." She sat uninvited, her posture rigid. "Your father and we've been thinking about how we treated you, what we failed to see." Her words trembled, a crack in her polished veneer. I folded my hands, my tone flat. "And what did you see? A daughter who didn't fit your mold? Or a favor you need now that the country club's whispering?" She flinched, her fingers tightening on her bag. "We were wrong," she whispered. "We thought success was Evelyn's polish, Marcus's charm. But you built something real." I raised an eyebrow. real enough to eclipse Langtech and every subsidiary. But would you have cared when I was sleeping in my car to save on rent? She looked away, her silence an answer. No, she admitted, and that shame is ours. I pressed a button on my desk. Clara, bring the package for Mrs. Mitchell. Moments later, Clara entered, placing a thick envelope before me. I slid it to my mother. What's this? She asked, her fingers hesitant. A chance. I said, Everlink's small business initiative leases mentors, resources. If you want to build something, earn it. No shortcuts. No family strings. She stared at the documents, then at me, her eyes glistening. You'd offer this after everything I stood. Gazing at the harbor. I'm not offering forgiveness. I'm offering a path. Merit. Not mercy. She rose, clutching the envelope like a lifeline. Thank you, she said, her voice breaking, for the clarity. As she reached the door, I added, that kitchen table at the wedding. It showed me who you all were. The best view is from the edges. She nodded, understanding flickering in her gaze, and left. I turned back to my work. Everlink's next contract's waiting. From my office, Boston's skyline stretches like a canvas of possibility, each light a testament to what grit can build. I keep a battered folding table in the corner, a relic from my garage days when no one believed in me. For years, I was invisible. My family's laughter louder than my victories. They measured worth in logos and lunch invitations, but I measured it in code, in prototypes, in the quiet moments when a dream became real. That kitchen table at Evelyn's wedding wasn't a punishment. It was a revelation, a seat where I saw their truth and claimed my own. I'm sharing this not for pity, but for you, the ones grinding in silence, unseen. Thank you for seeing me. Your story matters. In the comments, tell me about your kitchen table moments when you were underestimated, dismissed, or told you weren't enough. Share the wins you built in the shadows, the dreams you refused to abandon. If you've ever worked twice as hard just to be noticed, hit that like button. Subscribe if you know success doesn't need a spotlight, only substance. Pass this to someone building quietly, someone who needs a spark to keep going. The people who matter will see your value when it counts, and those who don't, they'll be scrambling for a seat at the table you've already set. Don't chase their approval. Chase what lasts impact. Integrity. The empire only you can build. That old table in my office reminds me greatness starts where no one's looking. So keep going. Keep creating. Keep proving them wrong by proving yourself right. The kitchen table isn't just where they seat you. It's where you rewrite the rules. As I sit in my office, the Boston harbor's gentle waves reflecting the dawn's first light. I trace the grain of that old folding table from my garage days. Its scars a map of my journey. The wedding. Evelyn's glittering stage turned crucible taught me a lesson sharper than any boardroom victory. True strength isn't in proving others wrong, but in trusting yourself when no one else does. I'd spent years fueled by my family's dismissal. Their laughter a goad that drove me to build Everlink Dynamics into a $2, $3 billion empire. Each sleepless night, each investor's smirk, each prototype failure was a brick in my fortress. But the wedding revealed a truth I hadn't faced. I'd let their judgment define my worth, my success a weapon to wield against their scorn. When I terminated Langtech's $65 million contract, it wasn't just about reclaiming power, it was about silencing the echo of their doubts. Yet, as I watched Marcus crumble and Evelyn's facade crack, I felt no triumph. Only clarity, their validation. The thing I'd chased in shadows was hollow. Offering my mother that envelope, a chance to build on merit, wasn't generosity, it was my liberation. I didn't need their pride to stand tall. I needed my own. The kitchen table, where they thought they'd diminished me, became my altar of self-belief. It taught me to measure success not in their gasps or their regret, but in the quiet certainty of my path. Every line of code I wrote, every deal I closed, every life Everlink's tech touched, that was my truth. Unshaken by their blindness. Now, I build not to prove, but to create, to innovate, to leave a mark that outlasts their fleeting judgments. The lesson isn't revenge or redemption, it's resilience. the kind that blooms in solitude, in the edges, in the places they'll never look. So I keep that table, not as a trophy, but as a reminder the only approval that matters is the one I give myself, forged in the fire of my conviction.